data center. If you have a redundant system for the PIM quality, you can use the data center. Remember, for the data center, there is a specific license needed. For the data center, you need the professional with data center license for both PIM quality PCs. And if you have installed then two PIM quality servers which are running independently, then you can install, or then you can configure the data center, which is used for the redundancy option inside of the PIM quality. And for that, after opening it, you have in the first place the configuration window, where you can select the source databases of both PIM quality servers. So that means you just open the connection string here, and then you can connect
cái license redundant là nó có cái
the PIM
phần
quality
data
server
center rồi.
1, and afterwards to the PIM quality server 2.
Nhưng cái của mình nhưng có cái đó mà.
Means
Cái
you have
có hả?
or that means
À,
that
data
the
center
data
bán cái
center
ổ à?
will connect to
Hay
both
là anh nói là cái
quality
chữ
servers,
Không, nhưng cái mục
get
này
the
nè.
data from there and merge the data together so that you receive correct data without having any data loss or something like that inside of the data center database then. And from this database you can then create your reports, so to be sure that you have the data available.
Cái data login
So after you have selected the database to connect, you can have some more settings here. So for example, we have a cycle available, so how often or in which cycle the data center should have a look at these both databases, and after the cycle is done, then it's have a look again at these databases. If there is some new data, then the data center copies the data from both the quality servers inside of its own database there. Time difference
học mấy ngày mà ông chịu có kinh nghiệm mà mang cái chuyện quay nhảy có
the batches from both PIM quality servers can have a time difference of 1 second, so that the data center can merge them together. Import the data center is looking for the batch name, so that means the batch name has to be the same on both quality servers. And then there are some more restrictions, so for example that the time difference cannot be too big, so that the data is can be seen as identical, and then the data center can merge them together. Priority, this is just the priority of the application. We recommend to just have it on below normal, as the data center is always running in the cycle here, so that means every 60 seconds it is doing something, and if you change the priority to a much higher priority, then it can be that your PC has to work too much just because the data center is looking for new data. It doesn't mean that you have to have new data, but it's still busy because it's looking for new data every 60 seconds. So just stay with the below normal, and this is okay. You can change the language here. You can decide if the exported data then inside of the data center database should be finalized after it is exported automatically, or not. So similar setting as we have available inside of the PIM quality topology, where you can have the same information, the same settings. So after the batch is automatically exported, then you can finalize it, so to prevent it to be changed afterwards. And then you can just decide which information you want to have inside of the diagnostics. So if you want to get informations, warnings, errors, or just one of them, or all of them, or none of them, or whatever. And after you have configured the common settings, then you can see at the list at the left, we have the production unit available here. So if you have more than one production unit, or even if you're working with one production units and then you have plant sections, you would see all of them here in the list. And if we now select the production unit, then you can see what you can do here at the right. So that means in the first step, connection string and where the data center should connect to, so where the PM quality servers are located. And now we have to decide what data or which batches the data center should collect. So for example, if you just want to have the data from the production unit P1 to be redundant or to be available on here on the data center, then you can configure that one here. That means we have to add a target database, for example, so that we receive an export database on the data center PC. So that we get a database where all of the reports then are located. So again, that we can open with the data view. It's a kind of a long-term archive, but coming from both PM quality servers, then we can decide if we want to have an HTML target, so that means an automatic printout or automatic export to an HTML file. If we configure that one, we have an automatic export to a PDF file, and so on. And we can also say we want to print these batches coming from the production unit P1, and we want to print out on a physical printer, for example. That means, on the other side, that we have to change the configuration in the PM quality server topologies. So that means we cannot export the reports, or we cannot print the reports on the PM quality servers, as we cannot be sure that they have all of the information. That's why we have the redundancy option with the data center. So that means we have to export the reports from the data center, because only in the data center we can be sure that we have all of the information available. So if you imagine we have two PM quality servers, a batch is running, and now one of the servers is shutting down during the batch running. And coming back again, the batch is still running, and then if we would export the report from the server which was shut down during the batch was running, then it would mean that we have not all of the information, not all of the data of the batch, because the PC was shut down, so we have a data loss there. But the other PM quality server was still active and has collected all of the data, but we do not know which of them was shutting down, for example. So we cannot just always export the reports from both PM quality servers, because then we have to compare them to know which information are available on server 1, which information are available on server 2. And of course, this can be really complex. If, for example, at the beginning of the batch running, of the batch start, then server 1 was shutting down, then it was back again, and then maybe server 2 was shutting down. So that means on both PCs we have a data loss, because at different times both servers was not available. And for that use, we have the data center. So that means the data center is looking, after the batch are finished, it's looking at the database of the PM quality server 1, gets all of the data of this batch, looks at the database of the server 2, gets all of the data from the batch 2, and merge both data pieces